Cowboy Like Me is the 11th track on Evermore, Taylor Swift's 9th studio album. And today we're gonna go over some fun facts about the track and talk about the song meaning. So let's start with some trivia. This was the only track in the whole album that was not recorded in the Long Pond Studios. Of course, I'm referring to the same Long Pond Studios as the ones for the folklore sessions. Marcus Mumford, the lead singer from Mumford & Sons, provided the backing vocals for the track. And this song was actually recorded at Scarlet Pimpernel, sorry, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, Scarlet Pimpernel Studios, which is owned by Marcus Mumford. Justin Vernon from Bon Iver actually plays the drums on the track, and the track was co-written and produced by Aaron Dessner, a founding member of the rock band The National. So let's talk about the song meaning. At a high level, Cowboy Like Me is a song about two con artists or gold diggers who against all odds fall in love with each other. In the first verse, Taylor Swift paints us a picture of being in a tennis court covered by a tent-like thing. This makes me think of like high school dances or things like this, but upon like a Google search, the first thing that would come up was a wedding, which I think could be in line with like a type of country club wedding, because we are talking about con artists and like scammers or like gold diggers. And I think a country club wedding sounds exactly like the type of event that these people would be at. And to me, this first verse suggests that this is the first time that our characters kind of acknowledge that they have feelings for each other. He asks her to dance, and yes, I'm assuming it's a he and she, and I will explain why a little bit later, but of course it's not like explicitly said whether it's male and female, but I will explain why that's my assumption later in the video. So he asks her to dance, and she says dancing is a dangerous game. And the fact that she says, I think this is gonna be one of those things, I feel it's like she's acknowledging that there's maybe something, like a spark or an interest there, and that's dangerous to allow themselves to get closer. In the first chorus, she says, I've got some tricks up my sleeve, takes one to know one. And I think she's saying this in reference to the dancing. So he asks her to dance, and she's like, that's dangerous, because she's aware of these tactics to get people to like you or to fall for you, but she feels like she has the upper hand. She has some tricks up her sleeve to not let that happen, but she does acknowledge that this person is kind of on a similar playing field as her, takes one to know one, you're a cowboy like me. So in essence here, the term cowboy is actually referring to being a con artist or a gold digger. In the second verse, the narrator explains that they both come from a past from never having really been interested in love, no interest in an emotional connection, but always focusing on material things. However, the end of the verse takes an unexpected turn. Now I'm waiting by the phone like I'm sitting at an airport bar. So Taylor paints this picture of someone who's like, so that's an interesting metaphor to symbolize the feeling of just like waiting and waiting, the same way that when you're waiting to board a flight and you're just sitting there at the airport bar. Oh my god, there's like something. So we get this image of someone anxiously waiting for the phone to ring, which means that unfortunately his tricks are starting to work on her. And that's what she starts talking about on the second chorus, which is kind of the polar opposite of the first one. Because the first one is really confident, while the second one, she's acknowledging like, oh, you had some tricks up your sleeve. So her tricks maybe didn't work out as well as she thought, because she was like, okay, I know the game, so I can handle this. But then maybe his tricks still worked on her. So being able to recognize his game was not enough for her to kind of prevent herself from catching feelings. The post-chorus comes in to tell the tale of our characters' past. Here it's revealed that both of them have been conning their way through the rich society, making rich men and women fall in love with them just so that they can have their way with their money. The phrase perched in the dark paints this picture of someone like lingering in darkness, waiting for the right moment to make a move. So being like very calculated, very like planning everything out. And this really reiterates the malicious intent of their past lives. And in the next segment, we see a much more personal note there, with our narrator saying that she was never expecting to fall in love under like her own personal circumstances of how she leads her life. And this segment ends with a stinging line, "And I know I'll pay for it." The way that I interpret this is that she will be paying for it by giving up her past life. So in her past life, through conning, she was always able to get fancy cars, jewelry, whatever it was. And now, at the cost of being with this other person, accepting love, she needs to give all of that up, because obviously they are both not people that come from money or that have any other type of means to provide for each other. So she basically needs to give up this past life to pursue this new one. The bridge of the chorus comes in to finally settle the fact that at least the feelings are reciprocal, so he also has these feelings for her. It begins by expressing how their pasts are so similar that they understand each other really well, which makes it really hard for the relationship to be messed up. And now this is the part that makes me think that obviously it's a man and a woman, because here she says, "The old man that I swindled really did believe I was the one." And in reference to him, she's talking about ladies. Of course, this could still be girl, guy, but this is just how I've interpreted it. Even though, of course, in Betty, she narrates the story and she's writing it from a male point of view. At least how I picture the story is with a guy and a girl, but of course, it could be either genders because it's not specified, as I said. She has really conned the man that she has been with into thinking that she was in love with them, but he has also done enough damage among the ladies that they speak about him when they get together. And this phrase, "when you passed through town," gives me kind of like Wild Westy vibes for some reason, but I think that's intentional because obviously when you think of cowboys, you can associate it with something like that. And the final line of the bridge does offer this kind of like resolution to their past by saying that was all before, meaning that they have both decided to kind of move on from that life. The fourth and final verse comes in with a reference to the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, which, as you may know, were the fabled gardens, which were one of the 7 world wonders of the ancient world. This analogy mixed with an idiom reflects on his infatuation for her, because to hang from someone's lips means that you're listening to them very closely. Then she paints a picture of him leaving his boots beneath her bed. The boots beneath the bed to me just show a sign of comfort. Maybe he's moved in, he sleeps over a lot, or he doesn't even want to leave his boots near the door for like a quick getaway. And the final line of this segment is, "Forever is the sweetest con." And this is in reference to the fact that even though they have made their lives out of conning people, finding love with each other is a con that they're willing to accept for themselves. So they know what they need to give up to be in love and to be with this person forever, and they accept it. And the song comes to an ending with a little bit of repetition of her saying, "I'm never gonna love again." And this is because she has found her one. This is the last person that she will love. So Cowboy Like Me by Taylor Swift is essentially the story of 2 con artists who find each other, probably at some fancy event like a country club wedding or something, and they inevitably fall in love and they just accept each other's past because they come from the same past, so they are able to understand where they come from, but they have found someone that they actually want to spend forever with, someone that is worth to them more than fancy cars. Now, as I said, I chose to do my analysis saying him and her, but it's not really specified. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. If you have your own theories, let me know in the comments, or if you think there's like a specific lyric that I didn't look at closely enough that was worth it, I would also love to hear about it. But that's it for now, and I really hope to see you in my next video. Bye!